All right, guys, welcome to a special Tuesday afternoon edition of the Owners Club strategy sessions. Mike Zakarian and I have been alternating these on our channels. Today, we are simulcasting it on both, although, Mike, you'll have to confirm for me right now. Are we successfully streaming on the Team Hold channel too right now?
I think we are. We're pulling it up right now.
All right. So if you're watching over there, welcome. We have Justin Herzig from the Owners Club and the Own the Moment joining us today to kind of set the stage here for a big week here with the Owners Club. We, of course, have the live and online finals for week 17, and then also a couple of playoff best ball contests shaping up as well. So, Mike, Justin, how are we doing?
Gentlemen.
Good to be back. Good to be here. Happy holidays to everyone. And you know what? Happy holidays to me, because no Thursday night game this week. So there's no need to blast off in the marketplace Friday morning.
It is we got a little calm before the storm, I think we can consider it, because then no Saturday games, no Thursday games. We're just going into Sunday, and it is finals week. I know what the Owners Club, we are pumped. Just kind of been watching people, accumulate their finals, their main event, their online entries. We've now got the final participant who will be joining us down in Miami. It's going to be a heck of a weekend.
That's right. So yeah, there's lots to cover today, and then a little later in the show, about 1:30, we're hopefully going to have one of the TOC live finalists, AndyReidOffABye, is going to swing by, talk to us about how he has approached the contest this year, what he's thinking heading into week 17. One just interesting dynamic, I feel like, for this week, even for the online finals, there are people with 9, 10, multiple entries into this. It's going to be really interesting to see how people kind of, approach this, because we've all for the whole season only having to build 3 lineups. So Justin, what kind of stuff are you anticipating kind of in the market here? People either beefing up, doubling up on things? Do you think people are going to spread their chips all over the roulette wheel? How do you think people play this?
Yeah, I think what's been most interesting is kind of the defensive aspect of people like kind of planning ahead. Because throughout the regular season, you don't really care that much about defenses. It's mostly fairly random. People have been accumulating the different stacks and stuff because you want to really make sure you have that as your core part of the team. But that defense is so huge for this week, when you maybe for most of the year, you're like, okay, I've got this good defense. As long as they're not playing a top 3-5 offense, I'm just going to put them in. But this is so matchup based. And obviously that New England got so hot the second half of the season, and now they've got the huge game against Jacksonville. That's going to be a very that's been a hot commodity in the market. But also, as you guys know from a DFS standpoint, defense is probably the way to most differentiate yourself. And because people are all going to be playing their best cards, that those high value defenses are going to be played a bunch. Can you get a little contrarian and find the right matchup? Because since there's so much variance in the defensive position, that might be a great way to really differentiate yourself.
Yeah, I like that call a lot. If we know that everyone's, circulating around 2 or 3 different defenses, and that's the easiest way to just make one little tweak, especially with the variance in that position. I love that. I love that idea of that thinking, especially because there are, I know the Patriots have the Jaguars, but there are other good matchups that could get there easily.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. And I did my typical first look at kind of the slate and the DFS salaries yesterday. And so I was running through things. And first of all, I know all of us here, Justin, you especially too, have, I have a fondness for some of these matchups, because I had circled these matchups back in July when we were drafting best ball teams, Dallas versus the Cardinals, Chiefs versus the Bengals. So to finally have these here and, looking at this slate, it's an awesome slate. We have Chiefs Bengals 49 point over under, Cowboys Cardinals 49.5, Rams Ravens 47. And then going back to kind of the defensive point, we have 4 big favorites that are 13 plus point favorites. So we have Bills 14.5, Patriots 15 point faves, Bucks 13 point faves, 49ers 15 point faves. So plenty of defensive options, plenty of running back options, plenty of stack shootout options. This is about as juicy as you can get for a final.
Yeah. And I think the last couple weeks have been so interesting as well, where, obviously it's unfortunate with what's been going on with COVID and everything, but for this year, I think more than ever, the strong fit of going with the team-based positions rather than the individuals I think has been a bit of a kind of a relief for a lot of people. And I think going into this week, like, some of those matchups that we really love, get a little more confidence in that, like, hey, I'm not going to lose that player to COVID, and really that matchup just disappears. Like that Kansas City Cincinnati, you mentioned best ball. Like we've had that circled from the beginning. I've still got one team that's like full on stack, that's Cincinnati, Kansas City. I still 100% don't know who's playing on the game. I think Travis Kelce's going to be back. But like, it's just helpful to know. And like, even the running back position, CEH is not going to play. So you've got the Darrell Williams aspect. Like maybe that'd be a contrarian play. Obviously, like it's a little more challenging, but like, I think that's been a relief and something we've been very happy to see. Just I think the community has been happy to kind of just know that, like, okay, I'm not going to get completely screwed with these COVID situations. Yes, it can be impactful, but yeah, this week 17 calendar, this schedule is fun.
Yeah, I think like universally everybody's been super hyped about that. And I think at the beginning of the year it was like, oh, you lose someone to a knee injury or something like that. But to see how it's played out the last couple of weeks with all the COVID tests, like, Kansas City specifically, right? I mean, that trying to like peg that down before this week's game was impossible. But knowing that you can just capture the entire offense or the entire wide receiver core, whatever, no matter who's out there, feels nice. Because, Pringle, you got Pringle season,
Tampa too. I mean, yeah. Tampa as well. Like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, neither played last week, but Antonio Brown had 15 targets, and now you'll have Antonio. Mike Evans might come back. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Brashad Perryman. We love him. No, I mean, like it's just. I think it's a nice plus, and I mean, when everything is coming down to this final week for the 16 contestants in the online and the live finals, the hundreds of entries that are going to be. I think I didn't count this, but I'm curious, and maybe I can do this while we're multitasking, but like how many entries I think we're about. But I think we were looking at around like maybe 3,000 entries for the online and side hustle. So don't quote me on that, but those were some early projections.
And judging by the chat, it seems like half of those are coming from DJ Local and Lou. So yeah, try 19.
Well done.
Yeah, and so Lou here asking a question that I think a lot of people are going to be wrestling with this week. Lou says, I have 12 teams in the side hustle, 6 in the main event. Would you guys build your main event teams first? And so just to kind of set the stage, Justin, I know we have $100,000 main event prize pool for online finals and a $50,000 side hustle prize pool. Do we know the exact payout structures for these contests yet?
We did release them. I'm pretty sure they're in the Discord. I think we did it a couple weeks ago. And a sharp thing that I saw some community members were talking about is the main event is 2.5x the normal weekly basis, because it was 40K for up to kind of, up to 100 now. The side hustle is normally 10K and it's up to 50K. So that's 5x. So like there is some argument that like this side hustle is actually more valuable from a, percentage basis. But what I would say, my answer for Lou there is the same thing we've learned throughout this season is the serial numbers are so important for the side hustle. And I think that we've only seen like 1 or 2 ties up top for the main event with regards to serial numbers. So I think that's where I would kind of not just say, okay, I'm building my main event, but because the side hustle is a ton of money up there as well, focus on those serials where you actually have a chance. Then I'd maybe go build that main event and see where you can get some kind of correlation aspects.
That's how I've been thinking about it too. And, anytime you look at the top of the side hustle standings, obviously from week 16, it was all various combos with Dallas and Cincinnati. And there's just so many duplications. So like Justin said, if you don't have good serials, I mean, I'm going to be putting all my best stuff in the main event, and then I'll be going more hodgepodgey in the side hustle because hodgepodgey is a good way to not be duplicated and try to get those random things. When you just toss in the direct stacks, you're often going to be duplicated. Whereas you toss a stack into the main event, you're going to have really unique combos with running back, tight end, and defense.
Yeah, I like using the side hustle to get weird too for that reason, right? Because it's going to be just dealing with dupes. I think like that's the one way to do it. And I saw, I think it was DJ Local who put some info in the chat about that. I, joked about the Thursday game, like not having a Thursday or a Saturday game, but it is pretty fun that we don't have any information beforehand, that we're not messing around with the marketplace or like this running back put up 32 points. Do we think someone's going to get higher than that? Like, I love that we're not dealing with that this week and we can kind of just, everybody's starting from scratch.
Yeah. And I think the thing that I'm going to wrestle with, I think I have 9 main event entries this week, is if I want to, I've been using projections a lot to kind of just help me build my teams, wondering, am I going to want to try to build, 9 balanced teams, or am I going to try to build what I would consider 3 to 4 super teams and then some real kind of, galaxy brain dart throw teams? And that's what I'm going to be wrestling with here.
Yeah, I purposefully only got 5 main entries just so I didn't have to like get too weird, Like I just did my best 5 out there. Yeah, I know I'm gonna end up galaxy braining. I'm gonna create a few lineups that are like will make sense, and then I'm gonna be like, too many people are doing that. We need to get the Saints quarterback in there.
I remember like a few weeks ago, Mike, like you were all about that Baltimore stack. I remember when you guys were making a team on stream, but this was like when Lamar was actually healthy.
Yeah.
And then like Lamar goes down and a lot of people are like, can't play Mark Andrews anymore. And then like now Mark Andrews are coming off 2 of the biggest weeks of his carear. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, Mark Andrews has proven that Lamar Jackson's been holding them back. Since Lamar's been gone down, he's the best tight end in the history of football. I've been still throwing him in the Island of Misfit Cards tournament, but I have not been using him in the main event. Just because I usually try to correlate a little bit, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to throw Josh Johnson into my main event, but hey, they keep getting there.
Tyler Huntley had the top scoring QB week, or at least I know in like DFS. I'm not sure on TOC. I think it was close, but maybe
it was close. It was the first week I decided not to run that out in the main event. They both went nuts. It was great.
Can't blame you. Yeah, that's tough.
Great.
Let's talk a little bit about the playoff contest, and then we'll circle back and get a little bit more in the weeds on week 17 strategy when AndyReidOffABye joins us here. But Justin, we kind of have now 2 different things going on for the playoffs. We have the playoff party contest with a 100K prize pool. I can pull this up here. This was kind of the flagship playoff contest you guys announced. And then you also announced this other playoff best ball contest with new packs and a really cool concept as far as, minting an NFT with a lineup from your pack and then having those on the marketplace. So maybe set the stage for us here and for people who might be confused, kind of the setup on these 2 different playoff contests.
Yeah, I'm so pumped for both of these, and you know how much I love best ball, so we'll get that in a minute. But for the playoff party, this is really a celebration of that first year, everything that's gone on with the Owners Club and all the great community members. And so this was just us saying, hey, those cards that you already own, the cards that are in the marketplace, the cards you've been playing with, those are the cards you're going to use for this playoff party. And so as you see, it is 11 cards, the deeper roster. We've got, hey, you already accumulated all those cards for your online entries. Now let's take them to use and use them in the playoffs. So with those 11 cards, 2 at each position and 1 flex, and that's where kind of a lot of the strategy aspect starts coming in. Doesn't make sense to stack 2 teams and go random with the third. Doesn't make sense to kind of find some differentiation with maybe a one-off position like a defense tight end. A lot of strategy aspects that I think are going to be some fun discussion points. But overall, I mean, 100K just thrown back for this kind of playoff party. And I think what we like here is, hey, you set your lineup at the beginning of the playoffs. Once that first game locked, set it, forget it, watch it, enjoy it. And so I think that's going to make it pretty fun. I'll pause there. Any thoughts there? And then we'll jump into the best ball one.
I love this. I was so excited with this announcement. This is like my favorite type of fantasy tournament. I know we've done similar stuff like with FFPC. Pete and I have talked about that before. And like this structure of just, you're basically trying to figure out how you think the playoffs are going to go and then build your lineups accordingly. And I love that. I love like there's fun ways to get different every year with this style of tournament. And to then like throw us a bone too for everyone that's been participating in TOC throughout the entire year, like calling it a playoff party, a nice little celebration of everything. This is awesome. So I know we're really excited about it.
Yeah. And the thing for me that is already going to be the thing that kind of puts my brain in a pretzel for thinking through this is, my initial thought right away was, stacking and having a full team set for a couple of these teams and trying to basically nail the playoff matchup and having 10. But then you run into issues with teams like New England. And it's like, could New England's wide receiver crew actually even keep up from a ceiling Bengals performance in round one. They could go off for 50, and New England all the way through the playoffs could like barely approach that with their wide receivers. So that is that kind of idea of macro correlation versus trying to get as many points in your lineup as possible, I think is going to make it very fun strategically.
Or think about the Packers and think about the Titans. Both teams that can make it to the Super Bowl. Packers aren't going to likely play that first week, so that already hurts them a little, but neither of them have tight ends. Like, they don't use their tight ends at all. So you could go with like game stacks with one or two of those teams and then just pick one random Kansas City tight end because you would expect Kelsey to score more points than basically either of their non-tight ends in just one game even. So that's where like I don't think like the full game stacks work unless like each position on that team really has a chance of thriving. And I think the tight end is probably the one where that's most like, if you choose all Chiefs, makes sense. If you choose all Bucks, like even there, you could see Gronk doing it, obviously. But if you choose a team that doesn't have that strong tight end, even the Bills, I'm a little iffy on. Like Dawson Knox, like, he gets those long touchdowns, but he's still averaging like 3 to 4 targets a game. Like, it's still kind of risky. So that's where, this strategy aspect is fun.
Yeah. And we were talking about Buffalo a little bit offline about doing like a full team stack of them. And you mentioned the tight end, but even the running back, like how often is the Bills running back going to get there? And I mean, he looked, they used Singletary like way more against the Patriots this past week, but I mean, how many times have they been like sub 5 points on the week? So yeah, there's going to be a lot of fun tweaks to it.
Yeah. The Bills are interesting, and you kind of run into it a little bit. Like you were saying, you're trying to get those puzzle pieces to fit together with the matchup. So like for week 17, for instance, if you're rolling out a KC QB tight end stack with Cincinnati wide receiver, you're playing to the strengths of those teams, and those puzzle pieces fit together really nicely. So that's going to be the key is, can you plot out your playoff scenarios and then plot up those puzzle pieces so they fit snugly around those guys who can give you access to a ceiling. And I do think tight end and running back are very tricky for that because there's so few teams that have been accessing a monster ceiling there.
Yeah. And I think once we get the actual playoff picture, like the bracket out, that's where that FFPC strategy that we talk about, where it really is mapping out, like, I'm expecting this team to beat this team, so I'm going to completely fade this. And this is where, as you said, like those puzzle pieces can start fitting together. It's going to be really fun. Like, I think right now, like I'd be planning and buying the cards, thinking about which cards I want from my larger population. And then the week when we know actually what that bracket looks like is when I'm putting my teams together.
Well, and that's the other wrinkle compared to some other fantasy tournaments, right? Where everyone usually has access to the same plays. And here that might not be the case, right? Not everyone has a full KC stack. So there's just so many different variables to it.
Yeah. And now, Justin, why don't you set the stage for the other contest you guys are running? I thought this was a super cool idea. Let the people know what's going on with that.
Yeah, so the second one I think is awesome. It is best ball style, and you guys know how much I love my best ball, and we wanted to find a way to kind of make it with NFTs. And so what it is we do it with packs. And so you start off, you buy a pack of these basically representing 20 NFTs. And so each of the 20 is going to be similar to the cards that we've had throughout the season. It'll have the team, it'll have the position, and it'll only be playoff teams. From there, you're going to take 12 cards and build one new NFT, where actually you mint a new NFT based off the 12 that you choose. And that becomes your playoff, like your NFT that can then be used for your free entry in the contest. And from there, you've got the 12 on there, and we use best ball style. It's just taking your top QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense, and I believe we are doing a flex as well. And so that's it throughout the playoffs each week. Take the highest. And I think the cool aspect is because this is an NFT, you own that NFT. You can also go and sell that NFT on the marketplace. So you can do it before the playoffs start. You can do it after maybe you go with a heavy Cincinnati and Tampa build, and you picked a pack that has great combo of those players. You went heavy. They both had blowouts and they destroyed their opponents week one. And you want to say, hey, I want to go get a return 5x, 10x, whatever it is. You can put that in the marketplace. You can start searching for value and stuff, and you can do that all the way up until I think the Super Bowl starts.
Are there going to be jokers in those packs?
I believe we said no jokers. No jokers.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
for the playoff party contest, you can have one joker max per lineup, but none for the best ball.
Gotcha. And I heard someone say, I thought this was an interesting concept of, if you're going to rip multiple packs, waiting until you have all your packs ripped to then assemble it, because then you can kind of balance your portfolio a little bit and think through some of those stacks as opposed to kind of building them as you go.
Yeah, obviously that was DJ Local coming up with a sharp perspective there from one of our previous shows. But no, I like that idea. And I think as well, there's a little risk reward of I can buy my packs early on. And then thankfully, like, you don't have to really worry too much about the injury stuff like you do with players. So like what you have on Wednesday is probably not that much different than Saturday. Actually, the playoffs start Saturday. So I think like Friday. And like, so maybe there's a little waiting, but like once you lock that in, like it's locked in. That NFT is minted. So there is probably some benefits, as you say, waiting maybe until like that Friday. But also, as soon as you mint it, that's when you can then go in the secondary marketplace. And there will be people that are kind of just hunting that secondary marketplace, looking to see like, oh, I love that team. Maybe this guy doesn't, so maybe I can snag that. And just seeing that process as it plays out should be really fun.
I love that.
So you guys are going to have a tight turnaround for that, right? Waiting for the playoff bracket to release and then getting all of these packs ready right after that?
Yeah, we're going like right now we're doing all the prep and everything and making the NFTs and all of that. And then we'll probably do that final like Sunday, Monday, the final. Okay, well, now we know these are the teams that were on the bubble and they're in. Ideal is Monday, we'll do our internal testing and then do a release on either Monday night or most likely Tuesday. But what we're going to do is leading up to that is we're going to have various promotions with regards to, okay, you can do some pre-signups, you can pre-order them. We're doing a referral system that we're going to launch pretty soon as well. Really the goal of this is, and so 100% of the kind of proceeds from the NFT sales will go to either the prizes, the promotion prizes or giveaways or promotion back to the community. We're starting off with 50K guaranteed as just like a, hey, we're throwing at least this much out. And then 100% are going to either go back to the community through the giveaways, through the free cards, through the prize money. So this is not a moneymaker at all for us. This is a kind of more of a proof of concept, a test to see like, hey, can we bring in more people to the Owners Club community through like this referral? And hey, maybe if it works out well, we might have a little more best ball in the summer.
It's going to be fascinating seeing like heading into the Super Bowl to see the marketplace, because you're going to have a true kind of like excellent liquidity if you want to hedge off of your thing and then see how much risk someone else is willing to take on at the shot at first. I think that's going to be so fun.
Well, Pete, I was going to ask you, is there any scenario where you actually sell?
I mean, I'm so bad with the like the hedging and stuff like that. I had the underdog boostum, the Josh Allen one, and I had 4 or 5 heading into the last one with Noah Fant under, and Willis was like, "Oh, you should hedge bet some on his." I was like, "No, I'm just clackety clack, roll the dice." So yeah, I want to be the champ more than I even probably want to realize my EV. So I'm clackety clacking.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, he's going to be buying in the secondary marketplace, paying a little extra equity to get that win equity. Yeah,
paying more than first place just so you can have the belt.
Yeah, what do we anticipate? So if the first place prize roughly to be? I know we won't know for certain until all the sales.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. So I would say the side hustle online final is 50K as well. So I'd say like that's a decent model. We're always prioritizing going with a flatter payout because that's from what we've heard from the community, they enjoy more rather than that kind of just get lucky top heavy. And so like even the playoff party, we're paying out top 500. And so if we have, but I think I was estimating, I haven't done the numbers, but I was estimating that we're going to be like between like 2,700 and 3,000 people who qualify for those finals. Then maybe 80% actually submit full entries. So like we're looking at least 20% or so just getting a min cash. And considering a lot of people have a bunch of the online finals, there's a lot of min cashes there at least. And then on the best ball style, I think same thing. Our goal is get as many people to cash, have fun, especially if this is a way to bring new people into the community. Then we want their first experience to really be like that. Hey, I won a couple, I put some in, I have some fun. And I completely forgot to mention this part, but the burning aspect.
Oh yeah.
So for everyone's kind of first, playoff pack, best ball pack, what we're doing is you burn one card and you get a playoff pack. And so this is a max for one per person. But the goal is that, hey, this is a way for us to kind of test the burning aspect, a way for people to understand what this burning is, how it works, give an idea of what could be used in the future, and get people their first kind of experience with these playoff best ball packs. And kind of, again, the goal is just make this as fun as possible and just bring more people in and experience what we've been doing with the Owners Club, because we're not waiting until football season next year before the next product release. There's going to be some more fun stuff coming up soon.
That's awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, are these playoff best ball like packs and the teams you mint, is that going to all live under the exact same place that all of your other cards exist on the TOC website, or is this going to be like a separate interface and stuff?
For the most part, it'll connect together. Like from a tech aspect, like we've got to build out some new contracts and stuff because the blockchain aspects. But from a UI, from what I believe, like it should all coexist.
Okay. What were you going to say, Mike?
Oh, I totally forgot.
Sean asking about a link. I have a link to the TOC site in the show description. Is there a link up yet for this playoff best ball pack contest specifically?
Not yet. We'll probably release at the end of the day. I'm always like, hey, join the Discord. That's where the information is the best way to come out as well. If you sign up on the site, we'll get your email, and we've got the weekly newsletters that we put out more information. But for right now, I would say the Discord, in the announcements channel is the most information, the most up-to-date information for the best ball packs. And I believe we'll have maybe Wednesday, Thursday, each week we're going to release a bit more information about how it works, more information on the contest, the payouts, the prize pool, the referral system, the burning, all that. Just didn't want to overload people all at once.
Sean's comment actually reminded me of what I was going to say. So I'm excited to see how many new users come in for this best ball. Because I know, like, as we've been doing the show and in our Discord, because we've had so many people in our Discord who's participating in TOC and then been having a great time, there's been a lot of interest from people like, oh, I missed it, I can't wait to get in next year. So I'm curious to see like how many people will jump in here, how many new users you get with this best ball.
Yeah, because we are fully cognizant of, like, it was a Owners Club in year one was a difficult product to join in late in the season. Mm-hmm. Just be frank, like a lot of the utility was lost in those early games. Yes, these cards are going to have some value long term, but like end of the day, you still were losing utility, and people couldn't get packs. You had to go to the secondary marketplace, etc. We didn't really focus on new user growth in that kind of during the season because we want to make sure we just built the best possible product for the current community, knowing that there's time in the future. This is, as you said, that first entry where anybody who joins now has the exact same chance, the opportunity as someone who's been in from the beginning for these playoff best ball. And would love to see how this works this year. And then, as I said, like just setting us up for next year with the summer.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm sure Mike and I will dive in next week and the following week, talking more playoff strategy for both the playoff party and the pack contest. But we do have week 17 on hand. We have the live finals, and we have our very special guest, fresh off of changing a tire in the field in parts unknown. It is AndyReidOffABye. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. Unbelievable. Took my kid to the park, and I was going to have plenty of time to be back here. And then all of a sudden, side of the road, highway in the rain. Brutal. But here I am. So yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be on to chat about what's going to be a wild time in Miami, even though I think only 15 other people care about this part of the stream. But to be on nonetheless.
No.
I know you've got a lot of online final entries as well, so they'll definitely want some of your wisdom. But I'm going to drop off and let you guys chat some playoff. But Andy Reid, can't wait to meet you in Miami next week. Pete, I know we're going to see you down there as well. Zakarian, if that wedding doesn't work, maybe we'll get a last minute. We'll figure it out.
I'll give you a call.
Enjoy, gentlemen.
All right, see you, Justin. Thank you.
Looking forward to it. See you, Justin.
Yeah. So, first of all, do you want us to just call you AndyReidOffABye? Is that what we should stick with?
Andy's fine. Even though that's not my name, but Andy's fine.
Yeah. Don't dox me, bro. Don't dox me.
No, I don't care. It's
so. Tell people when did you qualify for the live final? What was the team? I assume you remember it fondly.
Yeah. So I got super lucky week one. I mean, if you recall back to week one, if you guys were in it to start everything, it was things were like the scoring was really wonky. I had no idea. It was like Tuesday or Wednesday. I had no idea if I was even going to win or not because I think myself and Two Nasty were within a tenth of a point of each other. It was really close. So ended up getting really lucky. There were some late stack corrections that didn't end up being too painful. So got lucky there, and I haven't been even close to as lucky since. I've been struggling to get even more live final or online final entries. I'm only up to like I think 7 or 8, despite trying my best. But it was pretty crazy because in terms of like opening packs and getting started and stuff, it was I opened up. There's Two Nash there for you, but he's going to be down there too. So I'm glad he was able to win one too.
So Two Nash came in second by 0.1 and then won.
Yeah, won. I mean, he's in the top 10. I mean, pretty much all the time. I'm waiting to see his Bills. I know he's going to play his Bills wide receivers, and he's going to bring those ready to play this weekend. Yeah, so to start, it was I got one pack. I'm like, okay, I'll get one pack, see what this thing's all about. Pretty cool. I didn't really get a great pack. I got the Browns running backs, which was obviously awesome, but the rest of the pack was sort of stinky. And then I was like, okay, let's keep going with this thing, see what we can get. And then I bought another pack and then 5 singles, and I struck gold. Like I got a running back joker. I think I got 2 Kelseys. I got a KC wide receiver. I got a Buffalo wide receiver. It was ridiculous. And then I go to the Discord and I see everybody just completely up in arms about buying 30, 40 packs and getting just dog shit the entire time. How did I get so lucky with this? So, so I ended up getting really lucky there. And I traded my Bills wide receiver for Kyler Murray week 1. And I combined that with the Dallas wide receivers that were there that they played on Thursday night that first week. I think I had the Browns running backs, and I had played Kelsey and the Rams defense, which I don't think they put up anything crazy. I didn't have a big number. I think my number was like mid 150s or something like that, which for week 1, learning all this stuff and not really knowing what to expect, I was obviously really excited for the results. So
yeah.
Yeah. So what, now that you have another, 15 weeks under your belt, what are the,
I've just been going crazy this entire time. I wish I won last week so I wouldn't have all this pressure, but yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, are there kind of things that you've learned, even if you haven't been able to summit the mountain again, are there kind of things that have crystallized for you from a strategic standpoint?
Yeah, this is going to be, I mean, we haven't done anything like the live final yet, so it's going to be weird in a few different ways. So I'm expecting a lower number to bring this thing home for a few different reasons. It's basically like a bye week where you've got 4 teams that were not able to use because we're not using the Sunday night game, we're not using the Monday night game. So we're missing out on Browns running backs, and we're missing out on the Packers stack. So a couple of decent cards that we're not able to play, which, I mean, I'm not sure. I'd probably use the Brown running backs, but anyways, I think that might bring the score down just a smidge. And then you've also got no Thursday night game, so nothing, or no Thursday or Saturday night game, so nothing really giving you the opportunity to lock anything in. And I think the biggest thing is, I mean, you just have 16 entries,
right?
16 one entry per person. So I think that 16 entry piece of it is. I don't think it's going to require a giant number to take this thing down. So,
now I wanted to ask too, like, do you think, how much do you think this is going to affect your strategy in the sense that you aren't like, I have to make sure I'm not that you're not duped, but like you're not getting as weird as you might need to come in first out of 2,000 when you're just trying to beat like 16 people who you can see.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to get too obscure with your stack or anything. I don't expect. I mean, you might see a Bengals stack in there just because that number's pretty high with the Chiefs, but I don't really trust the Bengals. They beat the Ravens a month or so ago, and then they lost to the Jets the week afterwards. So, and they're playing a tougher Kansas City team. So I don't really. I don't really trust the Bengals with that high number, but you nailed it. I think you're going to see a lot of chalk, a lot of people. You're just going to try to look for those big implied numbers. I think the Bills have a big implied number at like 29 or 30. Mm-hmm. And you get Bills and Bucks all at big numbers, and then so like I said, I think people they're gonna play the hits. They're gonna play I think you're going to see a lot of Kelce's, a lot of Mark Andrews. If anybody plays anything outside of a Kelce or an Andrews, I'd be surprised. But I mean, who the heck knows? But
yeah,
like I said, I don't think anybody's trying to hit that 160, 170 number. I think people will be happy hitting that 110, 120, maybe 130 number.
I uploaded kind of the projections right before the show just to get a really early look, and this is my guess on chalk for week 17. So either a Buffalo or Dallas stack, Buffalo QB wide receiver, Dallas QB, Dallas wide receiver, Indianapolis running back, Tampa Bay tight end, and either Tampa Bay defense or New England defense.
Tampa tight end. Yeah, I guess that's interesting. I mean, we'll see how Kelce's health is, but yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and the other thing you have is if Lance starts over Garoppolo, which looks to be the case, Garoppolo's very doubtful at this point with this thumb thing. I think that really puts kind of Kittle's projection in more shaky territory than what it otherwise would be with Jimmy.
Wow.
So that will be interesting. Running back is kind of gross. I mean, we have these 4 teams with the monster favorites spreads. You have the Bills, the Patriots, the Bucks, the 49ers. No one likes using Bills running backs, but Patriots, Bucks, 49ers. I do think those are kind of your interesting running backs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, the Patriots running back is one that I'm just curious because I feel like that's not one people like to press to click. Like I feel like that doesn't get used quite a bit. But I wonder if the matchup plus coming off 3 touchdowns and 100+ yards or whatever it is, if that's fresh in everyone's mind and they go back to it. But yeah, I feel like that one doesn't get clicked quite a bit unless it's a Thursday night game and they've already produced.
So how are you? I assume, do you have any early thoughts on what you want to roll out? Obviously, you can't tip your hand, but do you think you're going to kind of play it a little conservative, get Galaxy brain?
He built this lineup week 2. He's been sitting on this for 14 weeks.
It's funny because when I started looking at it, I saw that I didn't need any Packers or need any Browns, so I was in the buy sell trade, basically getting rid of them like an idiot. I'm not realizing how much I need them throughout the rest of the year, but getting rid of them, like I don't need them for the live final at all. But I'm sure I got some sort of value for them or whatever. But I'm going to try not, like I said, I don't think I'm going to go Galaxy brain too much. I think, like I said, I don't think this is going to take a huge number. I'm not worried about dupes. I think I'm just going to, like I said, play what got me there. But I'm between a few cards. I mean, you've got your big cards with, like, I mean, you got your Brady's and your Allens and I'm nervous about. I know that Cardinals number is pretty big. I'm just nervous that they don't really have a whole lot to play for. I don't really see them going too crazy. I don't think they have the tiebreaker with the Rams to be able to win the division and get a home game. But I don't really see a whole lot of deviation in quarterback from those top, I don't know, call it 4 or 5 or so. With running backs, I mean, you nailed it. I mean, it's going to be hard to not play Jonathan Taylor against the Raiders. So yeah, it's going to be it'll be interesting to see. I hope we do some sort of fun lineup reveal at the actual event. I think that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see. I'm really looking forward to it.
I feel like I should know this information, but maybe it's because I haven't sniffed the top 10. Is there what's the payout situation for this live?
Yeah, I don't recall. I know they posted it somewhere. I'm not sure if it was in like the live final specific channel or whatever the case was. But and don't quote me specifically, but I think first gets 10,000. I think it goes down to 7,500, then 654, and I think like 12 to 16 get 1,000. Cool. So that's the floor right now, which is pretty awesome. So,
yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, no, not bad at all. And the guys have been incredible in terms of accommodating and making sure everything's good to go. So I'm I'm off work for the rest of the week, so I'm just like I'm in Miami right now, just getting ready to.
Yeah.
I'm not actually in Miami.
mentally.
My mind is in Miami, just ready to get this thing rolling. I'm really excited.
That's awesome. Are you throughout the year? What have you been kind of accumulating and beefing up your war chest in the marketplace, or have you kind of just been mixing and matching with what you got?
Yeah, I've been sort of switching strategies on and off because the TOC guys keep changing the rules on us. They keep adding value to cards that I don't expect to have value. Like a lot of these the $7, $8 cards that you end up being able to burn to have value next year. So I started off like, okay, I made it to the live final. Let's have a mass sell and actually take some more profit from this. But then I'm like, okay, well, I actually have some more that I could make out of this. So then I kept going and going and going. And I think now I'm up to like 60 cards or so. So it's, I mean, I have a lot of what you'd expect. The ones you want from Kansas City, where I don't have a whole lot. I don't have any Bills. I don't have any Rams. But I've got the Bucks. I've got the Chiefs. I've got, the Cardinals. Part of me wants to play Kyler Murray just because he's the guy that won it for me week 1, just as an homage to him. But I'm struggling with that right now. That's one I've been tinkering on a bit.
Have you what has been your strategy as far as, do you like doing stacks? Will you like to do, a bring back? Like if you were entertaining a Dallas stack, would you consider, Arizona running back? What's kind of your style for lineup building?
Yeah, I usually stack, even though my winning lineup week 1 wasn't a stack. I think it went like 3 or 4 weeks before a winning lineup had a stack in it or something initially. I think since then you've seen more and more stacks, but yeah, for whatever reason it wasn't the winning piece week 1. But I think usually I'm going. I mean, I was trying to stack in some regard with your big tight end cards like Kansas City and Tampa. I'll try to stack those. I'll use my Cardinal stack as well, and then occasionally if the matchups make sense, I'll go running back defense too. It really depends. I'll look at implied totals. Like, I mean, I think this week we've got the lowest implied totals of the Jags by decent. I think they're the lowest by like 2 points. I think. Yeah. But I think the Patriots will probably be a pretty common play. I think you guys mentioned earlier that's going to be a little bit that's going to be duped pretty significantly. So
I got to see what the floor is on this Patriots defense right now, because I got to try to recoup some of that week that they played that Thursday night and put up like 35 points or whatever it was. Yeah, your boy might have spent at the top a few times.
So floor is $53. The most expensive defenses right now, when I pulled it earlier, Kansas City 57, New England 53, Tampa Bay 53.
Probably some playoff pumps in those numbers there, I'd expect. Yeah. And Kansas City's defense has been playing pretty well last couple months. So
yeah, and I think that's actually, really interesting for, how I think this is less, relevant for, your live final, because it's just 16 teams. But in the bigger one, thinking about what the chalk stacks are going to be and how it might fail and how you can benefit. So if everyone's rolling out their KC stacks with Cincinnati wide receiver, like playing KC defense a good amount there to try to leverage, hey, that game fails. Not only do those stacks not hit, but maybe my KC running back or my KC defense hit. So those are the kind of things I'm going to be kind of thinking through in a big way. And like another example I was just thinking of would be, all right, New England running back, New England defense are going to get used a lot. Yeah. Well, the tight ends actually project pretty well for New England as well. And if you got the 2 tight end, 2 touchdown, 3 touchdown tight end game, now all of a sudden those running back and defensive points are maybe cratering, and you're also capturing that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that call a lot. I was even on the Kansas City side, I was thinking about going the other way, which I don't know, maybe they're going to be popular because they put up over 100 points last week, but doing the Cincinnati stack with the Kansas City running back coming back or something like that.
Yeah. I think to tight end is just super tricky this week. Just how we were kind of talking about, Kittle uncertainty. Kelsey should be back, but I mean, we don't know for certain. We also have Andrews has been just destroying with these backup quarterbacks. He hadn't really reached that ceiling with Lamar yet this year.
Yeah, you almost hope Lamar doesn't come back for Andrews owners, right?
I know.
I mean, I would be rooting for Huntley if I was an Andrews owner. He loves that dude.
Who does Atlanta have this week?
The Bills.
Buffalo.
The Bills. Yeah, so that's that. When I was planning for 17, I'm like, man, I love defenses playing against Matt Ryan. He doesn't he gets sacked 40 times a game. So, I think that's probably going to be a pretty popular play. And I don't think that Atlanta implied numbers, like I think it's below 15. So if you go that route and all it takes for a defense is just to get lucky with the score, but I think you just want to avoid having something that you guys mentioned earlier. You don't want it to be one that everybody's using, which I'm not too concerned about it in the live final, but maybe something to consider for the online stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about, I would say, both Buffalo and Tampa Bay is you just know they're not going to take the feet off the gas, regardless of those game scripts. So, those stacks, like if I was in the live final with that, I'm probably rolling out a Buffalo stack or a Tampa Bay stack, just knowing they're so kind of game script proof. The interesting thing is just for Tampa Bay, like with their wide receivers decimated, you probably are rolling out the stack with Tampa Bay tight end, because I don't know if I'd want to trust the wide receivers here.
Yeah, what's tough with Tampa is I play them pretty much every week. The last it feels like they've just been spreading it out so much. With if it's not their tight ends, it's their wide receivers. Or I mean, Brady uses everybody. Your running backs are scoring, your tight ends are scoring, your wide receivers are scoring. You're not really getting. I'm not really seeing too many of those spike weeks within many of those Tampa skill units. And quarterback is pretty safe, I think, but within those other pieces, they've been a little bit disappointing. But yeah, no. So I mean, who they have this weekend is the Jets, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's gonna be points there.
Yeah, I think I'm talking myself into this Buffalo stack with the Atlanta tight end.
That's the interesting thing too, right? Where Buffalo doesn't have to be pushed for that stack to hit, but if Josh Allen, puts up 50 points, you're going to need someone on Atlanta scoring to help facilitate that.
Yeah, I think I trust that position. Oh, I don't trust anybody in Atlanta, but I think if I was going to take a dart throw, it's probably the tight end over the running back.
Yeah, they've been using Hayden Hurst more often too, even outside of Pitts. So it's like Hurst and Pitts are really the red zone right now. So I don't know. I think that's
well. And Pitts almost turned into like the PPR guy down. At least this past week, and then Hurst got the touchdown, which was not. I mean, for TOC purposes, it's great because you basically got 130 yards and a touchdown. We'll take that every time from a tight end.
So, do you? Are you going to do any shopping for week 17, or is the cards you're rolling out, you already are in possession of those?
Hold up. Before you answer, I think this is a great opportunity to, put yourself out there to the community. Like, hey, do you want to be a part of history? Do you want to be a part of the first TOC championship of all time? Send me your stuff.
Send me your jokers.
Recently connected to this championship. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's like I think I'm pretty much where I want to be, and I haven't really gone into it. I'm sure you probably can. I'm just not like super savvy with a lot of this stuff. Like I could probably go in and see where some of the live finalists or where some of these other guys are, or what am I going to expect out of them?
Wallet tracking. There
you go. I don't even know how to do that, but I'm sure you can. But I'd be curious to sort of have any sort of insight on what to expect and what these other folks are going to play. But in terms of me, I think I've pretty much got what I'm going to play. I'm still undecided, and you've got so many things going on still with COVID happening. I think Wentz now has COVID, so I mean, what's that going to do for Taylor, or does that even matter? But so. Yeah, we'll see how things go throughout the week, but for the most part, I think I'm pretty much where I need to be.
Not to circle back way too far, but do you play DFS? What kind of other background do you have with games and contests like this, or is this kind of your first entry point into all of this?
I've been playing DFS for, I don't know, call it, I don't know, 5, whenever it really became mainstream. Been playing it unsuccessfully for a while. I haven't really had much luck doing that. I haven't been too serious about it. I'd throw a $1 million maker lineup every week or two, whatever. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, like I said, not a whole lot of success. And it really got started with all this. Probably just, I mean, like a lot of folks with Top Shot. That was my real introduction into to the broader NFT space and TOC specifically.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. If it was Top Shot that got you there, or if it was fantasy football, like what kind of got you into the space? So, but I think
been playing fantasy for a couple of decades now. I love like season long fantasy and all that sort of stuff. I'm in one of my finals this weekend. I know nobody cares about that, but
we do.
We very much care. Unless you start to get into the details about it, and then we don't.
Then we're out.
That was just an homage to pardon my take, a podcast I listen to. But I'm playing fantasy, like season long fantasy for a really long time, and like I said, got into Top Shot. I just pretty proud of myself. Just completed the Throwdown season or series 2 set like a couple days ago. Pretty pumped about that.
It's funny too. I'm thinking because there's some stories from DFS live finals where these guys party so hard on the Saturday night, and then they wake up just hungover trying to build a lineup to win $1 million. At least with TOC, you could pretty much build the lineup ahead of time. And even if there was some crazy bombshell, it's like one little tweak. Like if there was ever a live final where you can truly cut loose and not worry about it, I do think it's in Miami on Saturday.
You're not worried about like value hunting these like 3K guys with inactives.
No, that's a good point. You really set it and just enjoy yourself. So we'll see. The guys have some really fun stuff planned for Saturday and Saturday night, and then the live final actually is at the Miami Heat Arena. So really looking forward to that whole experience. So it should be a great time.
Who is, feel free not to dox them. Maybe it's Miss AndyReidOffABye. Who's your +1?
Oh, it's just my buddy. My buddy's going to go down with me. We're going to fly down. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. So we'll be flying down. We're flying down Friday morning, and we're going to the Orange Bowl game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm an Ohio State fan, and I bought tickets back when we were expecting to see them in the Orange Bowl, and now here I am going to see a Michigan game, which is a little bit bittersweet.
Well, wait, you had already planned to be in Miami this weekend?
Are you joking, right? Oh no. So no,
I'm saying you were able to just tack that on, or then you were like, oh, I'm going to be going. I'll buy the tickets.
Well, yeah. So I was looking for things to do just randomly in Miami when I'm going to be down there. So saw that the Orange Bowl was going to be there. I'm like, holy smokes, Ohio State's got a really legitimate shot in being in this game. The tickets weren't bad. Tickets were like $200. I'm like, let's just get tickets now. And we could avoid the game if we didn't want to go to the game. But I still think it'll be a good time. It'll be a good game. No, we bought those tickets after winning this event. So
even though it's not Ohio State, like it's Michigan, you at least know who you're rooting for.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
My buddy's going, a different buddy that's going. He's a Michigan fan. It's always like a debate around these parts. Like if Michigan's in a game like this, are you going to root for them as long as it's not against Ohio State? So I don't know. I think I'd rather just see them have a little bit of success just to keep things competitive and within the rivalry. So
throw them a bone.
Yeah. It's okay every now and then.
I was just thinking I've been rewatching old seasons of Survivor, and one of the ones on Netflix, a guy gets drunk on one of the, reward challenges and starts kind of spilling his strategy to the other people on the reward challenge. And I was just thinking, Miami Saturday night, hanging out at the cocktail hour with the other finalists, get some people drunk. Are you going with the Dallas stack? What? That might be a good strategy for you.
No, I there's something to that. I think you could probably get some nuggets out of folks after they've been drinking a little bit. I think
right now the other 16 live finalists are like scrubbing the video, just being like, well, how did his eyes react when he said Dallas?
Yeah. Yes, the body language doctors are already doing a breakdown on this. Well, we are very stoked for you. Are there any other final predictions, any final takes? You want to call anyone out?
Yes,
Go
please.
full wrestling heel right now before we close this down?
Well, I think we'll have plenty of time to do that this weekend. But I heard Justin say that you're going to be down there, Pete. Are you going to be down there for the event?
I'm going to be making the trip down. So excited to come scope it out as a fan. Maybe I'll earn my way into the live final this weekend. Or sorry, that ship has sailed. But yes, I will be coming down to cheer you guys on.
Well, you get all the fun without any of the stress and everything. So that'll be good.
Exactly.
Well, that's why I turned it down. If I'm going to go, I'm going to earn it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take any handouts.
Well, we really appreciate you coming up. Do you have any socials that you want to pump here, get some of that clout?
Not really. It's everything. AndyReidOffABye. That's everything that I'm tied to. But I don't care. Awesome.
Mike, any other final plugs for you and for anyone watching over on the Team Hold channel?
No, I don't think so. No plugs. Everybody, we're on like a slow vacation week this week, so we're not doing 12 shows a day. So just relax. Everybody have a good time.
Everybody relax. I am going to be back in about an hour with Eric Beimfor from Spike Week and Roto Grinders. We're going to talk underdog playoff best ball strategy. So if you just have not had enough playoff strategy talk, we'll have you covered. And he's also doing a couple nice giveaways for people who have donated to animal shelters. You can check out his tweet for that if you guys want to get entered before the show at 3. So for AndyReidOffABye, for Mike from Team Hold, make sure you guys are subscribed, following him over there. Thank you to Justin and TOC. Good luck to all of the finalists this week. All the Einlon finalists have